Hey.
All right.
Yeah, we back. It's Wednesday night. You know what it is. All right, it's your people. It's your guy, Tyrone, a.k.a. Mr. Chocolates. We got Black Pearls in the house. What's up, madam?
Hello.
All right. Oh, we got the doctor. I said the doctor's in the house. Dr. Roy Rain.
What's happening? What's happening?
Back tonight.
Deep voice. The deep voice, friend.
What's happening?
She got slick back tonight, so I don't know. All right. We got two new guests. All right. We're excited about it tonight. All right. So we got the professor. What's going on with your brother?
Brother, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank y'all for having me.
And we got Gray Way. What's going on, brother?
Hey, how y'all doing?
All right. So, man, it's a brand new week, man. What's been going on out here in these streets? Not saying y'all in the streets, but you know what I mean. You know, Black Pearl gets offended when I say she's been in the streets. So, I know you've been rescued out of the streets. So we know.
Oh, now I'm rescued out the streets.
Rescued, carried away.
I'm gonna let that go.
Thrown over the shoulder.
Not thrown over the shoulder. Now I'm out the streets and thrown over the shoulder. Okay. All right.
Man, but what's been going on, Doctor? I start with you. What's going on this week?
Man, every week I'm ready for Friday. Let's just get to Friday so I can just have a restful weekend because these kids driving me crazy.
Girl, I thought you were gonna say something else.
What? Who are you telling? Hey, the educator blues, man. It's like when it's so close but so far. It's like gotta be quicker than that. You're just reaching for that end of the year. You know what I'm saying?
Nope, it's only Wednesday.
When doves cry, baby. When doves cry.
Yes, wow, that's rough right there.
Man, oh man. Black Pearl, what's going on with you? What's your story for the week?
Oh, do I get to come off someone's shoulder to answer this question?
Hop off that shoulder. Let us know what happened.
Hold on, we come down. All right, so it's just a regular week. I'm not. I don't have the honor of being an educator, but I do train new people. So please get these people right in school because when they come to me to get trained at work, it is a headache. It's a true headache. So yeah.
Well, let me tell you, you're in trouble. I ain't gonna lie to you. You in trouble.
I am.
I think it's the best you about to have. So you.
No, don't say that. The bar's not even high. Oh my God. You know how people do the how low? Can you go under the bar? I'm walking straight under the bar right now. It's just like, yeah. Anyway, go ahead though.
My week's been pretty good. Although I did get punched in the eye the other day. You know what I'm saying? I broke up a fight, some girls, and one of them caught me with a haymaker, blop. But luckily she was 90 pounds. It didn't leave a mark, but it was the principle of it. I was offended. I was like, damn it.
Wow.
Caught me with a nice one. I'm like, man.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Hey, man, it comes with the territory. It's that time of year. But I was like, I don't deserve this.
Damn.
James. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good. Had Special Olympics today. Shout out to the Special Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
I still got my shirt. Had that. That was a good experience. Although we did have a bus accident. Somebody sided somebody the bus. But we were good. Everybody
You got to be kidding me. What's going on?
It's a long day, man. It's a long day. But yeah, it's all good.
You didn't let our guests introduce themselves.
It's coming. It's coming.
Oh.
All right, so now, our guest. All right, Mr. Grayway, what's going on, brother? Introduce yourself. Tell them about yourself.
Hey, L.E. Gray. I'm Dr. Royal Rain's husband. You know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you the one threw her over his shoulder. Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna be over a shoulder. Well, go
So you
ahead.
know, it's always kicks and giggles around here. You know. Yeah.
Hey, I'm in full
Life,
caveman
life
mode
is
tonight.
good. Life is good.
Okay. And we got the professor. I'm gonna try and get this guy here. This guy. I let him tell you about himself, but this guy, man, he runs a lot of stuff. He's a big important guy in education, in the higher education realm. Some of you guys know him. You know, I'm giving you the grand introduction. But tell him about yourself, Professor.
Well, thank you, brother. Thank you all for having me on. I'm a long-time viewer, first-time participant, so I'm looking forward to this opportunity. But I am AL. As Tyrone said, I've known him for a long time. We go way back. I think it's well over 20 years now that we have known each other in some form or another. And I'm real pleased to be here. Looking forward to participating in the conversation. So thank you all for having me. And don't believe anything he's told you about me in before today. Just let this representation tonight really speak for itself.
Okay. We've been warned.
Hey, we're not going to expose no scandals tonight, you know. Not that we have any. Not that we have any people. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm disagreeing with other people. Yeah, that's right. Hey, I don't want to expose anybody's scandals. I don't know any to give anybody. So,
you know, but when you got friends of over 20 years, you know, you gotta be like, hold on, bro, don't tell them that part. Don't tell them that stuff there, you know. Especially them college stories, you know. You know, shout out to Elizabeth City State University.
Lord have
Viking pride.
Viking pride.
A lot of secrets in those halls. A lot of secrets. All right, so Black Pearl, what's going on tonight? What's going on?
So before we get into the topic, just wanted to know, did you guys hear that Biden signed the documentation needed to give, was it China a year to sell TikTok or have it banned and shut down? What do y'all think about that? A lot of us, I mean, we're on TikTok, so a lot of us use TikTok. So what do y'all think about that?
Man, I'm new, but I can tell you I'm devastated because I found TikTok during the pandemic and I watch it religiously every night, you know, so it's something going on. I share things with people up there. All the content is not great content. It's all not accurate. I understand the national security implications of it. But man, I'd hate to see it go. God, I'd hate to see it go.
Yeah, I've found some good things on TikTok too, and I agree it's not all accurate, but it's entertaining. It's really entertaining. So yeah, I hear y'all.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens. I think it's about the money, but we'll see what happens.
Well, you know, it is interesting because working in the school with middle school kids, you see how it's got them gone. They can't stop doing the dance. They know the dances, but they don't know how to read time on an analog watch. It is kind of bothersome. I don't know what's going on. And matter of fact, I was leaving work today at a soccer game, and I seen some little girls, you know, the little columns along the school. They're twerking on the pole doing TikTok dances, and I was like, damn it, shut it down. When I was
not damn it, shut it down.
You can't attribute that to TikTok though. That's not TikTok's fault.
What if they see someone at the house?
But I mean, that was a temporary emotional response. But overall, you know, I don't like I have a bad feeling about the government shutting stuff down. It just makes me, you know, there's a little slippery slope there. I don't like to be tampered with. There's all kind of things making us stupid. You know, we can't just go around shutting everything down. But you know, it's national security thing too. They shut down some American apps because we do have a little back and forth with the propaganda espionage thing that people don't really kind of see in the background. So I don't know, but I don't like shutting stuff down. That's a slippery slope to me.
Gotcha. Well, we'll see what happens. What is today shall not be tomorrow, and I know that for sure. So, but we have a clip. Can you share the clip before we get our conversation tonight going?
So the clip. So I looked at the clip again. We gotta describe it because because I looked up and they actually mess with your YouTube channel when you share this stuff. So,
all right. Well, we shared a clip on our experience page. If you didn't see it, hop on. It's probably like 2 or 3 posts away from whatever's on there now. And on the post, a gentleman was saying that a man is taught their entire life how to treat a woman, but not what to expect from a woman. So we wanted to dive into that. We got that topic, even though he couldn't be with us today. Shout out to D-Rod the poet. Good topic for us to dive into, but definitely something that I've heard men talking about lately. You can't hear me, Mr. Chocolate?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I saw you messing with your headset.
No,
you know?
I'm good. I'm good.
All right. So I wanted to start off with you, gentlemen. And then I'm also going to ask Dr. Royal Rain for a second. But start off with you, gentlemen. I'm going to start off with Professor. What were you taught growing up as a young male about, or if you were even, on how to treat a woman?
Yeah, and thank you for starting with me, so I can set the bar and not be embarrassed later. But very seriously though, at a young age, I grew up I'm from a little part of Eastern North Carolina. I grew up in a small missionary Baptist church, right? So my rearing said to me, you to be polite to women, be kind to women. You're supposed to find a wife, take care of a wife, provide, have children, go to church, pay your tithes. Very, very standard thing, I think, in most Southern black households in America. But the second part of the question, I think, is really interesting too. I definitely want to get into that. But as a whole, I was taught to be a provider. Find a wife, marry her, be faithful to her, have children, pay your taxes, be a good citizen, go to heaven.
Gotcha. Any detail? And this was a good answer, but I'm just saying, any details of that, like what that looked like, or just that was just a general overview? Like, did they say things like open the door and blah blah blah? Did they tell you things?
They did say that. So be polite. And again, I like to say, I think the time frame being a man ebbs and flows. So there's things that I didn't do great at one point, and there's things that I do better, I think, now. My wife might attest to. But yeah, open the door, pay for things, cut the grass, make sure the car works, provide money to buy groceries. You don't necessarily again, these are the stereotypical things, not necessarily going on in my household, but the things that I was, go buy groceries and things of that nature, and provide for your children, help your children with their homework, that sort of thing. But mostly I was told the things I need to do for a wife and not necessarily the things I need to do with a wife. So.
Good point. All right, we're gonna come back to you, Professor. What about you, Grayway?
Basically the same thing. I was raised by my grandmother for the first part of my life, well, growing up until I was about 13, in the church. She was a strong minister in the church and everything up in Baltimore. And she would always tell me, you have to be a good man, a strong man. You have to be a provider. You have to, of course, take care of whoever you choose to be your wife. And the one thing she always would say, you never put your hands on a woman. She would always say that. And she would say, you always take care of your wife, your family, your kids. You are the provider in the household. And she would always say, you're the lead, so you have to take the lead.
Gotcha. What about you, Mr. Chocolate?
Yeah. So honestly, growing up, so it's very basic. It wasn't very detailed, but it was the main thing was, find a wife, kind of like everybody's been saying, you find a wife, and main thing was always learn was provide. We always taught provide. Make sure people don't come to your house and you ain't got no food. Make sure that you got a decent place to stay when you get your family. Make sure y'all ain't. I remember my dad telling a story about when we were younger, we lived in this little apartment. It was like super small. And my granddad came and he just talked trash, my dad. And I remember when I was a kid, he kept saying, you got my door in this little Cracker Jack box.
Oh, and,
no. He just he was killing my dad. But you know what? But like a couple months later, we had a house. We were like, I guess he was killing me.
Motivation.
Yeah, motivation. But so yeah, just make sure that and it was like, don't beat her, don't put your hands on her physically, because you know you can't do that. That's you're a punk if you hit her. And I mean, for me, it's mainly that. It was mainly just doing things. Like I say, things you do for the wife. You make sure you know, take out the trash and cut the grass and pick up the heavy stuff. You know, and that was kind of the basic husband kit that we learned growing up. You know, and then as you get older, you learn there are other things and stuff. But growing up, that's what I remember. I know my family is like, I don't know, I guess we're big on food. It was mainly like, make sure y'all are eating good over there, bro. Like, don't have your family hungry as hell. Like, that was like the most embarrassing thing. If your family's hungry, then like you are trash, bro. Like, y'all eating good? All right, cool. Yeah, they eat good over there. All right, he's providing, cool, you know?
Gotcha. Okay. So Dr. Arroyo, before we come back to the guys, were you told how a man should treat you growing up?
That's a great question. And I really don't recall any of that.
Okay.
To be honest with you. And I don't know, maybe if it's like hidden in my subconscious somewhere, because maybe it was said to me, but off the gate, I don't recall that.
Okay. I mean,
I do remember one other thing that I remember hearing all the time growing up. They were like, "Oh, make sure she black."
Yeah, I will say I've heard, you know, don't bring her home if she can't use your comb. You know.
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
never heard that.
Oh yeah,
I've never heard that. You know,
that's like a good times thing almost, and they weren't even in the South. So
my experiences are different than yours. So I've never heard that. Well, wow, that was good. I'm gonna take that too. To answer the same question that I asked Dr. Rain, I don't think anyone ever specifically sat down, but definitely used people as like, look at your uncle, he's doing blah 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 blah, he's a good man. Look at your cousin, he did that to his wife, don't you let a man do that. Like, it was more of specifics, like examples versus a man should do this for you, a man should do that for you, that type of situation. So I think because we had a lot of men in our family, they just pointed out the examples of what good men are. And then when my cousins, which I've talked about here, were playing the mess out of girls, they go, you don't want a guy who does this, like that type of thing. So, but never specifically what a man should do for you, like provide, blah, 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 and all that other stuff. So what about other way around? So did you guys get lessons on what to expect from a woman, or what a good woman was, or how a woman should treat you? Or do you feel like just mainly what provisions you should do or things you should do for women? I'm gonna go back to the professor again.
So yeah, that's a great question. I cannot really recall anyone ever telling me this is what I should expect from a wife or a woman in a significant relationship. I don't ever remember that happening. But I will thread the needle a little bit back to our earlier conversation about TikTok, though. There are a lot of things on TikTok and a lot of things that definitely tell you what it shouldn't be, and there are a couple of less things that tell you what it should be. But I don't ever remember like getting a litmus test, getting a laundry list from my mom or anybody else, or another man in the family to say this is what you should have, other than what Mr. Chocolate said.
How did you know if you was finding the right woman to give it to? What if you had just provided someone who was using you?
I think it's trial and error, right? And so, so first of all, I think it's to use a hip hop idiom, it's levels to this, right? So it's level, yeah. And I think when we get started out, Chocolate mentioned when we were in college, the professor in college is not the same one you got today. And so my expectations of what I would want in a significant other are no longer the same. I was actually having a conversation with a friend about this the other day. And, conversely, I think it would be the same for her, for me, right? But it's hard to know. You don't know until you really know. And so I observe other people, a lot of older men in my sphere of influence, and I saw what to do and what not to do. And somewhere in between that came up with my own mix of things and what I thought it should be. I hope that makes sense. So.
Oh, absolutely does. What about you, Grayway?
Only thing I remember is basically my mom saying, make sure that she could take care of family, but my mom would always say, don't bring a white woman home. Always. She was telling me that, and I think a lot that I got was from seeing my mom and how she raised us, and that's what I looked at as what a woman was supposed to do. Now me looking for all that when I was in the army and when I was younger, and who really be thinking about that then?
I don't know. You tell me who be thinking about it.
I know. Then I was just like, man, how she look? She look good. Okay. Let me see if I can get that.
Same.
You know what I'm saying?
So it's women who think deeper about that. Is that what is that?
Really?
Your experience?
Is it?
I'm asking. It's a question. Look, there's a question mark. I'm just asking.
No, I don't think so. I mean, at least not. Well, I might say. Well, you might say some women, but I can't say most of them do that, and especially from what I can see nowadays. I mean, because we've got 2 daughters, and I would always take my daughters out and talk to them and tell them, don't expect nothing less. You supposed to treat a person a certain way, but don't you expect nothing less. And you shouldn't have to rely on a man to provide for you. Have your own money, have your own job. I take you out nice places to eat. I take your moms out nice places to eat. And and I was like, so I said it should go further than just y'all dating, and because everybody acts a certain way when you first dating, but then when you get together, it's a big difference. So I mean, but I would always tell my daughters, hey, don't expect nothing less. I take you to nice places, so you say you deserve and should expect to go to nice places, but don't always expect somebody to do it for you. So,
yeah.
And what about you, Mr. Chocolate?
What up, Bravado? Nah, not really. I think most of mine was, again, looking at the women around me. But nobody ever really was like, hey, this is what you need to look for in a woman as a potential mate. Not really. I think it was more people just kind of did their thing and was like, hey, look what we do. So like when I grew up, I had my mom, and I had I would go with my aunts and stuff and see them, and I knew I wanted a woman who I always knew I wanted like a feminine woman. I never liked no hard ass woman who was like rough. I ain't never like that. That's why I never talked to girls from New York, because they always act like they
really, yo. Why you? That's the
that yo. Nah, they be like, "What's up, yo?" Nah,
you just took a whole shot though. You just
I listen. This is I'm hey, what people say. What they say. I'm telling my truth. Let me tell my truth right now.
You tell your truth with like a 9mm, yo. Like,
I'm just saying. Like it's true.
Put my Timbs away.
Search your heart. You know it's true. I'm not putting on all New York girls, but a lot of New York.
That's why you don't date people from New York. You just took all of us.
I did, because it was just trial and error. I'm sorry. I kept meeting girls in New York. A girl called me shorty one time. I was like, she was bad. And she called me shorty. I was like, ugh, please get away from me. You are like a dude. Like I don't never like no masculine women.
I mean, we're not Southern Belles. It's a little different. We get it. We're definitely not raised to be Southern Belles. We are from the concrete jungle. You can't be a Southern Belle in the concrete jungle.
That is okay. And they can find a concrete dude and make concrete babies. I'm good with that. I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it at all. I'm good with the concrete. I'm from the South. I like pine trees. I like pine trees and beaches and stuff. I'm not a concrete dude, so I'm good with it. But yeah, well, girl hit me up. She was like, "Yeah, yo, shorty, you nice." I was like, "Oh my God, what are you? What the hell? Would you get away from me? You like sound like my voice."
I think I remember her. I think I know the situation you're talking. No, I'm kidding.
No, I was about to say, dang. Okay, so Royal, and then we'll get back to you guys. So Royal, did you get a whole spiel of what a woman should be or how a woman should treat a man?
Don't remember that either. But I don't. Anyway, I'll leave that alone. I was about to make a joke, but I'll digress. I'll just stay focused. So what I will say is that for me, I looked at my father as an example, in semblance to what you just spoke to a few moments ago. So I would say I looked at my father as an example of what a man should look like as a spouse or as a husband. I mean, or dating material perspective, right? But I will also say that although I don't, the only thing I remember my mom really emphasizing was for me not to be a harlot.
Well, okay.
And that's why I'm really not being funny, y'all. I'm being so serious.
I was gonna say,
and that wasn't the term that she used either, but that's my term. But what I would say is that I was raised to be very domestic, cooking, cleaning. From a male perspective, I heard you guys say, about cutting grass. I know how to cut grass. I did cut grass. I know because I'm from Eastern North Carolina too, AL. And so from that area, there's a lot of woods. And so I know how to bust some wood open. I know how to chop wood. I know how to stack wood. I know how to put it in a fire. So all of that in order to keep the house warm. Those from Eastern North Carolina, y'all know what I'm talking about. So so that would be me. That's what I was able to take away or glean from my mom as far as that is concerned. It was more of an example.
So I got a question. Now we're talking about this, right? Yeah. What we learned and what people have told us. So what do you think we should be teaching our children about, like their future mates, like what to look for? Is what should we be teaching? Because I'm thinking, I'm listening, and I'm hearing us talk about, like, I know Grayway was talking about his daughters and how they should be like independent and not need a man. But then you hear these conversations about women saying they don't need men and men complaining about that. So that's
like, a little different though. What you're saying is different than what you're asking.
No, it's not. You think so?
It is a little different. Let me tell you why it's a little different.
Okay. Let me hear.
Let me tell you my opinion why I think it's a little different. We spend so much time telling our kids what they should and shouldn't do and not showing them. And most of the time, they're not listening to what we're saying. They're watching what we're doing. And so a lot of these people who are in these experiences where they're like, I don't need a man, did not always hear their mom or whoever say, I don't need it. They watched their mom and whoever survive, and it became normal to them. So when you come back and go, hey, I want to be this man, they're like, well, why do I need one? I grew up in a household and I never saw a strong man doing anything. I saw a woman who had to do it by herself. So why do I need a man? He's just going to disappoint me anyway. So that's what I'm saying. Like teaching them is not really telling them, because a lot of the stuff I learned, which was what I was about to say, was my grandmother. Like let's say I didn't wash the dishes. She said, no man gonna want to stay married to you if you leave them dirty dishes in the sink. She said stuff like that. Or I would make a peanut butter and jelly. Like, you can't eat peanut butter and jelly the rest of your life, because no man want to come home from work and you giving him some peanut butter. And so in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta know how to cook. Or she'd be like, come here, let me show you how to do something. This is what you do when your husband work overtime. But she wasn't like, hey, I'm teaching you. She would go, you see that thing you got in between your legs? If you give it to everybody, nobody's going to want it, because everybody would have had it already. That's the version of don't be a harlot, don't be whatever. So, but I paid attention more to the fact that my dad came. So my roles, I told you this before, were reversed at home. Though my mom and my grandmother said a man's supposed to do boop, 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 I paid attention to what my dad was doing. I'm like, you married him and he's not doing all of that, so I should be okay. So that's what I'm saying. It's not a teaching thing. It's are you living your life in that example? That, because this, like, even shout out to Coach Tay. Coach Tay has said, I've never seen a strong man in the household. I just seen strong women doing what they had to do. And so to get her mind around, I need a man to be okay, it's hard. She's challenged with that all the time. That's why you get these people who like, I don't need a man, because they haven't seen success with a man doing it.
But yeah. I will say, and I think AL is going to piggyback off of where I'm going. You and I both said this evening, when you asked the question to us, in retrospect, when you asked that question, both of us basically said we were never explicitly told X, Y, or Z, right? Yeah. We were never given any of these specifics. But what we did hear from our male counterparts is that they were given some specifics. Am I correct, fellas? Okay. So where I'm going with this is, I hear what you're saying, sis, but part of that is because we were conditioned based off of example and not being told. And if we were explicitly given something, because we weren't given nothing. They were given something, even if it was a little nugget. They were given something. We weren't given anything. So I'm sharing that to say that maybe that is why we as women, going to Tyrone's question, that's where the disconnect occurred, because we were not given any explicit direction or directive on how we should go about seeking a man, a quality man.
I think that some of the challenge, especially from the real, and I regret that we can't show it, is that we have men who are so stuck on what they should do for a woman that they don't even know themselves, because all they know is I provide, I give, I go to work, I come home, I'm the ATM machine, I'm the child support person, I'm the my wife needs, but never what the professor needs, or never what Grayway needs, or never what Mr. Chocolate needs. And so they become more of what they can provide versus who they are. That is not how a man should be treated either, right? And so the question is, if all you've been taught is your value comes from what you should provide, is that really you finding your mate, or finding the person you can tolerate and provide for? That, I think that's the avenue I was trying to go down, because literally going back to Chocolate's point is, you have all these women, or whoever's point, so I apologize if I got that wrong. You have all these women that's like, oh, well, you don't have a job, well, I don't need to be with you. Oh, you don't drive that, I don't need to be with you. That's what I'm saying. Like, so is that, go ahead.
I mean, it just kind of is what it is. I mean, it's like, you have to, a man is definitely seen as what he does. Like, if you don't do anything, if you don't do anything, don't have anything, especially in this modern era, you ain't getting anywhere with no woman. Like, you gotta have.
If a woman doesn't have anything, that's more acceptable.
Yep. So
Yeah.
just like if you go to
Well,
McDonald's,
it depends who you are.
if you go to
You know.
McDonald's and there's a dude at McDonald's, most women gonna be like, he work at McDonald's, whether you cute or not. But if it's a little cute girl and she a little thick at McDonald's, she gonna get pulled out of McDonald's by somebody easily, and it's acceptable. But a dude getting put out of McDonald's and getting taken care of is like,
Man,
what is wrong with that dude? That's
It's
just
back to 50, 21 questions, man. You know, if I
yeah,
was at Burger King, would you still be that? Yeah.
yeah.
But seriously though, I mean, I think too, and this man is a really great conversation though, right? Is the fact that we live in a capitalistic society that has reshaped what the natural position of a man and woman should be in a relationship. And this is strictly from a hetero standpoint. Nothing. I'm not talking about any of the other of those on the spectrum, but strictly from a hetero standpoint. And it has been co-opted further by the way American society works. So that's not a knock on America. I think it's a great place to live, great place in the country. I believe that, but it's not perfect. And because you talk about TikTok, look at all the influencers on TikTok. Now, I watch a lot of these hip hop and R&B artists, and that is entertainment. And I'm able to take away from that that's entertainment, and I can teach my daughter and nephews and nieces that's entertainment. But people don't think that's entertainment; they think that is real. So they think that the hood ghetto project life that's real. I can get swept out of all of that like Cinderella and meet this rich dude that's driving a Benz or a Bentley and just be. I can do that. And I think it's the reverse. But for a man, there's nobody coming to save me. There was no thought about some, magical, whatever the male version of Cinderella is, Princess Charming coming to pick me up out of somewhere to do something. I had to grind and work hard to be like George and Weezy and move on up to the east side.
Yeah.
There was no men have no thought of a woman coming by and going, "Oh, you bad. Let me."
Yeah. I don't think that y'all sitting around waiting for someone to find your glass Tim to see if it fits your shoe and take it. That's not what I'm saying. New York
City Tim's, man.
But my question to you is: so if a woman doesn't treat you right, but you're able to provide, are you okay with that? Because then you feel like you're accomplished because you're a provider. Versus, that's where I'm at. Are you really limited to what you can provide? Because then that would explain why we have such a high level of suicide amongst men. Why their wives, where there's wives trying to figure out, well, why did he go downstairs in a basement and blow his brains out?
Yeah,
I mean, we were happy
because the role that society wants us to play causes us to think like that. But in real life, in most instances, no, I can be a provider and at the same time be very happy. I can be a provider and be unhappy.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, and that's something as a man you learn as you grow and mature. That there's more to that. But we were talking about the initial lessons. Like that's like the starter lesson that men learn. But as you kind of get grown and get more relationships and see, you start realizing, wait a damn minute, what do you do? Like what a minute. Like whoa, what's going on? So then you started to have your own standards and you learn to communicate them or so that's something that happens later for most men.
So you feel like that's learned through maturity, not learned through the foundation. Well, not most of the times learned through the foundation of.
No, not in my experience. Not from what I've seen from other men in my experience. No, that's learned later. And sometimes there's some hard ass lessons. I've seen well, my brother Graper can tell you that I've seen a few when I was in the Army, a few stories of guys being on deployment and you both dark skinned and the baby come out Chinese.
Chinese.
Yeah, that's actually a true story.
It happens a lot.
I was deployed with a guy. He was him and his wife were like darker than me, and she had like a little Asian baby that was like super light and just definitely it was something off in that, and found out he went on deployment. She was in the NCO club dropping it. Just
So can I ask a question of the guys, which is how can we change the narrative for our young men as we talk about this conversation from the perspective of how are we training our future young men, our young men today, on what to expect or what they should expect from a woman?
It's tough.
You know,
Question, Doc.
because we got 2 boys also. Well, 3 boys, and boys are hard headed. So I mean, you could teach them, you could show them. Our boys saw me go to work every day. Get up early in the morning, sometimes 2-3 o'clock in the morning to go to work. So they had the blueprint for what they supposed to do.
That's not my question. I'm sorry, Gregory. I want you to answer my question. I love your husband, but I need you to answer my question. My question is, and I'm acting like a lawyer right now. I'm sorry, but here we go.
This is what married folks do.
I'm going to ask the question again. The question was, how do you change the narrative for our young men to know what to expect from a woman? Like your point was they saw me as an example. How do you change the narrative so they know what to expect from a woman?
You know what? Hell, make a TikTok about it.
Stop playing.
I'm saying. That's what everybody looking at, right? TikTok. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's gonna come in. I think though in those heart-to-heart comments. So I'm a father of one, and I'm a husband to one wife. So I have a little girl just turned a year old, right? Aww. But I think to my nephew, thank you. I think to my nephew, Chocolate was here for the birthday. Yeah. But I think that my nephews though that I get a chance to talk to, it's gonna come in one-on-one conversation between me, their dad, their grandfather, and other people that they trust and believe in. Because to my earlier point, there's so many things in society that's going to stand in direct opposition to what I'm going to tell them. Because it's back to the tick. I hate to say it, although I love TikTok, not taking that away. It goes back to the social media generation and the instant entertainment generation. Is that you don't have to have those things as a woman and or a man to be successful or to have a baby or to have a marriage. So our society today doesn't hold those things to be important. So it's really hard to teach somebody this is what you should have and should look for, because everything they're seeing in the mainstream is saying you don't have to have any of that.
Can I answer? I know it's to everybody. Mine was and continues to be a little challenging. So I have a daughter and 2 boys. And the irony, my 2 boys are more in a more stable relationship than my daughter. Okay. And what was challenging, but had to be a hard truth, is when I was mistreated in relationships and they saw it, I had to have real conversations about what was happening. Right. Just like when I am in relationships now or in a relationship now, I try to take time to talk to them about things as well. Like, this is happening. I'm doing this. This is why I'm doing this, that type of thing, because I started a little later with them. They saw the bad first and then trying to see some of the good, but keeping those conversations open where they could come and go, hey, I'm experiencing this with my girlfriend, or I'm experiencing that with my girlfriend. And also involving my daughter when I'm having those conversations, because for me as a woman, there's no man conversation, no woman conversation, because I'm trying to get them to get both perspectives. But again, it's challenging because it's a lot of talking, but making sure that my actions back that up. So it is challenging, because here's the mom voice against, and I'm going to use y'all thing, the TikTok voice or the social media voice, or dealing with, which I know my son talks about, where it's like, oh, F her, you just going to, get that and keep it moving. That challenge of that may be good right now, but that's not the forever. That's not going to work forever type of thing. So it's challenging, because sometimes the best that we want for our children or those that come after us is not the life that we're living. And so they're watching more than they're listening. And again, I say that because my kids will call me out in a heartbeat. That's not what you did with him yesterday. What you mean? So it's challenging.
And so, and that's why, like, so my answer was kind of to that. We gotta have we gotta build more relationships with our kids. I feel like just from being around a lot of kids, we're lacking that. Like, just overall, like adults aren't talking to children about shit. Like, really, when I talk to kids and ask them, have you talked to your parents about this? Because also, I teach health, and we talk about relationships, and we talk about a lot of these things. When we talk to kids, the parents don't talk to them. A lot of these kids just go home and go to their room, close the door, and come out for dinner, go back into the room, and people aren't talking to children anymore.
No, because they're stuck in whatever's distracting them: television, video games, social media, and I mean stuck. Like,
right, and that's what I'm saying. Saying that the culture is so toxic right now, and the culture is strong. Like the kids, like what they're seeing. So when we're not talking to them, and they're seeing, they're seeing this trash culture out here. That's just like, I was walking down the hall of school, and a girl, some kids, Joe asked me about booty meat because they heard it in a song. Like legit, like, and I'm like, what? I'm a grown man. What are you talking about? I'm not going to talk about what? We're not talking about booty meat. But the culture is so strong. It's got a hold of our kids in a way we don't realize how tough it is. So we talking about, boys and what they're going to expect from a woman. We need more. We need more 2-parent homes, they need to see that more.
Or cultural co-parenting.
Yeah,
because we also have our kids stuck in between our bad choices.
We gotta get back. We gotta get back to that. People don't want to hear it a lot of times. We gotta get back to seeing examples that are good, because the kids see examples. That's where you learn from. You can sit and talk to a kid and give them a talking to, but especially when they get to that teenage age, that middle school age, what I'm dealing with, those kids, they're looking at what you are and how you move. Like when I talk to kids at school, they look more at how I move and the person I am. They really look at that, and they kind of take those examples. You can talk them to death, but they look at examples. If there's no example in the home, if you're telling them what to expect from a woman, and and you're separate, and you're like out in the streets, and you're trying to be a young. I see these parents like copying like this culture right here, dressing like Sexy Red. I see parents coming, they're half naked at school. It's over. It's over. There's no.
And Doc Lynn, I'm gonna go to what you're saying there, Chocolate, too. But to be honest with you, I'm gonna go back to something I used to do in undergraduate school. There's really not a good answer to your question. You're asking a question, what is the answer? It really isn't a good answer, because it's really going to depend on society as a whole, and then individual conversations. Like Chocolate is saying, like Gray is saying, like Pearl is saying. I don't think you can. We are so screwed up. To use a scientific term, in so many instances, we are so screwed up. It's going to be hard to unring that bell. So I'm going to say an Eastern Carolina thing and then let it back up. That's going to be a hard road to hoe, man. It's going to be a hard road to hoe.
Yeah. We each have to do our own part.
And that's where
it's got to be an individual thing.
And that's where
too big. It's not.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think the problem too, and which is what I was trying to say before, bad choices. So let's say you have a man and a woman who have a child, they're not together anymore. That child's in the middle of, your daddy ain't shit, your mama a bitch. That they hear that, right? But when do we pause, not to be honest with that kid, but to be honest with ourselves, that some of this is our decision and this is what we could have done better. Instead,
but those two statements right there are a product of the same situation we're trying to resolve, because you shouldn't be saying that about this.
And I understand that. What you shouldn't be saying is not what's, there's a lot of things we should be doing that we're not. So let's be honest, our kids are stuck in the middle. And I mean, I say our kids, I don't mean just the ones that come from us.
Right. Universal,
our kids are stuck in between bad decisions we don't want to face. We either smoke it away, work it away, whatever. We never stop and go, this ain't what we supposed to do.
But our primary job is to protect that kid. And so whatever, and be an example for that kid.
Leaving them ignorant, though? Are we protecting them?
I think you want to set your I think so. I'm gonna say yes, and I might not be invited back again, but that's another missionary Baptist lady. Also, blessed are the brief, for they're invited again, so I may not get an invite back. But
No, you're making a good point because I'm sure a lot of people feel like that, though.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I know that there are a lot of people who I grew up with, and some still alive today, that are very unhappy in their marriage, and I would never know that. I think that's a responsible adult should never let his or her feelings get in the way of what they should provide for his or her child. So I would never say that. I would never. It's just it is how should I say this? It's continuing this negative circle that we're trying to break people from by doing that. It's not helping the situation. So I would lie. Let me say it this way, and that is an instance where you should lie, because you're doing what's in the best interest of your kid. And sometimes a lie will do what the truth would hurt.
Yeah, but a lie will allow you to continue a generational trauma that you can heal from.
And
so you just gotta find the balance. I'm just saying, you just gotta find the balance. If you don't know, you're bound to repeat. You're bound to repeat to an extent. Now, I'm not saying to be like, go to your child like, I can't stand your mama, but I'm here because it's cheaper than being on child support. I'm not telling you to say that. But if you have,
but it's people who do that right there.
There's never any point to talk negative about the other person until like the child coming up, unless they're like abusing the child or something. The way you feel about the other person, you chose them, so it's no need to put the other person down if y'all trying to co-parent. Saying that so and so ain't this and that. Let the kid find that. If that's the truth,
absolutely,
they're going to see it, and let them tell you one day, and then y'all be like, "Oh yeah, you ain't shit. Yeah, okay, you see it yourself."
Yeah, but what about the lessons that we learned from that? So maybe the lesson is not your mama ain't shit, but maybe the lessons are the wisdom that you've gained. Some of us go through lessons, get the wisdom, and we don't share the wisdom to the next, and so they repeat it.
So let me clarify. Let me clarify, because when I asked that question, I asked that in order to invoke inner perspective, because, and I think it was AL, you said, "Woo, that's a hard question." I think it was you that said, and I asked that question in order to make everybody on this panel stop and think about that question, even if you, because I know Mr. Chocolate and AL, both of y'all have girls, right? So, but if you had a boy, I want to take a brief moment just for you, and even if you don't have an exact answer today, to like hold on to it. Maybe can you, in order to hold on to that, and from the standpoint of thinking about logically, how can I help my son know what to expect from a woman? That's why I asked that question.
So let me get a simple answer. What I would, if I had a boy.
And everybody's different. Everybody's answer. Hold on, I got you, Tyrone. And I just want to throw it out there too, from a clarification standpoint, that yes, to the viewer earlier, like everybody, and I think you said this specifically, everybody's answer is going to be unique because everybody's parenting style is different. Everybody's experience is different. So you're going to come at it from a different, everybody's coming at it from a different lens. But the common goal is to evoke a change in this narrative. That's where I was going with it from that perspective. But go ahead.
Mama. That's what I'm saying. Look at your mama. Look who I chose. That's what you need.
Hoping that that's the right choice, because each situation is different.
I would tell them. I would tell them. Yeah. I would say, hey man, son, look, you need to have a wife. First of all, you need to have a wife that's going to be a partner and not just a wife, because you trivialize what a wife. People have trivialized what husband and wives are. So I would say, you need a partner that's going to help you take care of your family, help you become the best version of yourself, help you do this. But you need to sow in, to be biblically right. You need to sow into that woman, right? You need to support her. You need to help her dreams. You need to be there to help make that happen. She need to do the same thing for you. And you don't need to be mean and nasty to one another to express that you are upset. So be able to be civil when you have a disagreement about something, and know that you're married and you got a purpose on this earth that you got to fulfill. And that woman you chose, that husband you chose, is there to help you make that happen.
Yeah. And I will also say to Grayway's credit, he and I and I believe Sherry had mentioned this earlier about Sherry had said this earlier just about having heartfelt truths with our boys.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that Grayway and we do with our youngest son, because I will say, being transparent, I don't know if Grayway would admit this or not, but I feel like we might have laid the blueprint for our older boys, but as far as like having genuine conversation about what they should be looking for in a woman, I don't think that conversation was ever had. Okay, is that fair, husband? And so from that standpoint, with our youngest, who is 10, he's a complete start over, literally. And we all saw Tamara Gray earlier. That was my son's talking about what? That won't me. Because he wanted to watch the show. And so one thing that we do as a mom, for me specifically, I have open, honest conversations with my boys. Some of them are very in-depth. Pearl can attest. I'm very open, but when it comes to him and this specific topic, one thing I have told our 10-year-old is that a lot of these girls in these streets are not loyal. I've told him that, and he's only 10, because I don't want him to get caught up in what Mr. Chocolate, what you're talking about, and these girls out here just, oh my God, anyway, I can't, because it hurts my brain. And so what I share with him is, and I've told him this for years, and when I say years, he might have been 6 or 7 when I initially said this, and I mean this with everything in me. I told him, if a young lady, because he's such a giving person, his heart is pure. And I said, if a girl ever hurts you and you tell me about it, I'm going to chop that bitch in her throat. And I did. I told him that. And to this day, every time we start having this conversation, he'll look at me. His husband, he'll look at me. He said, Mom, what you say you going to do to that girl? I said, I'm going to chop that bitch in her throat. And he just falls out laughing because, and he's told his school teachers in that on the clean version. He leaves out the B part. But he'll tell his teachers, Mama said she gonna chop that girl in her throat. I ain't playing with you, because I want him to know I have your back. And this is what you should expect from a female. So again, that's why that's why I laid that question out, because I just to stimulate thought. Now my last question for y'all, because I'm looking at the time.
All right. Yeah. If a girl gets chopped in half, they're gonna come look for you.
Okay.
Look, she's gonna get another chop.
Said, look.
But my last question for the panel is, fellas, Pearl asked this or said this earlier, which is a woman asking you, what is it that you need, or how can I help you? My question is to you all, if you had your wife, your significant other, those that are out there in the world, I want you to think about this. What would you tell her?
Yes, that is a good question.
If you had, I'm going to say 60 seconds, or what they call it, an elevator pitch.
An elevator
pitch. What would you tell that woman that you expect of her? And anybody can go. I ain't even gonna call you, because some of y'all might need to process.
They
But
need to process.
they
You
need to
done hit
process that.
them with the yow. That's what
Well, you married to one of us, so I mean, but that's not me and not Taco, so that might complicate things further.
Well,
Yeah.
answer it without the wife specifically, I guess. Sort
Oh,
of.
okay.
Oh, it's fine. I'm open. He gonna hurt me. He good.
I'll be courteous. I'll let the guests go first. I'm courteous.
You're gonna have to pick somebody, Royal, because
I'll go. No, I would say, kind, sweet, attentive, and supportive. I mean, those are simple things, I think, and
That you-
passionate.
yeah.
I'll add passionate to the end. Passionate.
Okay. All right.
So mine is. I mean, I kind of know what mine are. I think here. So basically, like I would say, listen to me, as in like when we're talking, or if I'm talking about what I'm feeling, listen, and not think about what you're going to respond to before you hear what I'm saying. And then just because a lot of times, male female conversation, sometimes women can be converting things when we just be saying stuff. Y'all be converting shit and like no, that ain't what the fuck, that ain't what I said. I said what I said. But what you mean when you said that? No, it was simple. I just meant what I said. So my thing is always like listen to what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is what I feel and what I think. It's not like a runaround. So listen, and then and as a man, of course, I always want to feel respected. Respect me, respect me when we're out. Respect me because when men, I think a lot of times some women don't realize men care more about being respected than a lot of other stuff. If we don't feel respected, that's a
Amen.
that's a quick way to out of the situation when we don't feel respected. Like that's just the worst. If you in your situation, you don't feel respected. You can be mad at me. You can be all kinds of other things, but if we feel disrespected, then it's like, oh shit, okay, well this thing might be a wrap for this one if I ain't respected. So those are like two of my main things is listen and respect. And then the other stuff like I never require anybody to cook for me. It's cool if you do, but if you do things for me, please don't don't like throw them at me later like we're not competing. Don't compete with me. We're not in competition. I don't want to compete with my mate. We're not. That's not what it is. Like I do this and then you can do. It's not a competition. And if you feel neglected, you feel away, let me know. Let's talk about it, and we'll listen. But it's not a competition. Like those are my main things, man. Like that I've learned over the years that I look for and kind of expect out of a partner. You know what I'm saying?
And thank you, Mr. Jenkins. We're looking at your comment now. Love unconditionally, respect, and work with me. I love it. I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah. What about
Wait. Talk to me, husband.
Nah, I agree with everything that's been said. But and to love me, to respect me, of course, to hold me down the way you expect me to hold you down. You know what I mean? If we supposed to be partners, then that means we supposed to be equal in doing everything. And it doesn't. We don't keep score on who does more or who does less. So just because I might not say cook or something like that, don't say, oh man, I've been at work all day, how come I gotta cook? Hey, we take turns, we do whatever, but I want to be appreciated. That's the biggest thing, to be respected and appreciated, and to know that no matter what happens, you have my back, which you do. I want to make for me, it's like saying, okay, if I'm down, you there to lift me up. You put a smile on my face. You make me want to be better. You push me. You don't let me just settle for being just okay. You make me want to be great. and not just great so that I can provide more for you, but great for me myself.
Facts.
You know, I mean, that's the biggest thing.
And I think you can sum it up too with the vows, love that most of us took: love, cherish, honor. My wife specifically took out the word obey, and I'm okay with that. For richer or for poor, and in sickness or in health. I mean, keep it real simple. Just do those things.
Yeah.
Well, some people don't get married for the poorer and the sickness part. They get married for the happiness.
That's the problem. But that's the problem. See, people get married for the wrong reasons, man. Everything not gonna be no daggone, rainbow and sunshine and lollipop stuff. And anybody getting married and thinking it is stupid. That's why I tell people, you're stupid. If you think every relationship you ever seen as a marriage is positive and they not having beef or argument at home about something, you don't believe that. Don't believe that.
Right. It just depends on how big or how far you let that beef go. That's where the problem comes.
Exactly. And that's why you always go back to those vows, man. Hey, man, this is definitely worse, but things have been better. So in the grand scheme of things, I think we're winning. Let's keep moving.
Yeah, some people get hung up on that worse, and then they just compound it, and before you know it, they done work themselves up into like a frenzy.
Well, I also think, and I hate that we're kind of going off to a little, but it's the truth. I also think the problem is a lot of people get married with the expectation that the other person's going to fix what's missing in them. And so I'm coming to you broken. It's your job to make me happy. It's your job to do this. But in actuality, it's still your job, even if the person tries their best. And so that's the problem. So when they get that disappointment because they're not fixed, then it's the other person's fault versus I already came in broken, bro. That's the other problem with marriage. Marriage does not fix everything. Okay. Marriage are two people that's like, we're going to do this together and we're going to work on it together because our vision, our passion is the same to make it work together. And that's what it is. And that's why I asked, this is where this topic originally came from, because we have some, and I'm not going to say it's just women, but for now, there's just some women who find a man to fix it. I'm looking for a man to fix it. I'm looking for a man to pay for it. I'm looking for a man to provide it, and it's like, unfortunately, when you come and you don't have it for yourself first, it's never good enough because you just want more and more because you're waiting for someone to fix it. So that's, for me, where the basis of this conversation came. So, yeah.
Okay.
And
that's good conversation. Oh man, we didn't went over the hour.
It's all good.
It was a great conversation. Hey, something to come back to. So it was a lot of things a lot of little nooks and crannies to get into there. So anybody got any final thoughts that they want to kick off before we spill out?
I just want to say, on behalf of the women on this here panel, and Pearl, if you feel like you need to add, feel free.
No, go ahead. Speak for me, sister friend.
But I will just say that, gentlemen, tonight you have been heard. You have been received.
Okay.
And we appreciate you.
Yes.
We have your back. Great way. I hold you 10 toes down every day. But
85-inch TV.
It's coming. And so with that being said, I just want to say, sincerely, we appreciate you. Each of you.
Absolutely.
Oh man, that was all right.
See, I told you to talk for me, sister.
I'm glad I asked. All right, Professor, we got any final thoughts?
Hey man, peace and blessings, man. Thank y'all for being here.
All right. Mr. Grayway, any final thoughts for us tonight?
Well, the only thing I got to say is, hey, we can only do what each one of us could do, no more than that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. All right, Black Pearl, what's your final thoughts for the night?
The doctor spoke on my behalf. I'm riding what she said. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Hey, my final thoughts, man. Hey, so when we talk about holding 10 toes down, all right, appreciate I got one at home. Sherry Knox holds me down, so I appreciate that always, always and forever, right? And
forever.
forever. All right. Like it or not. And look, so if you're listening right now, before you leave, please hit that like button. Help us out. Help us out. We're just an upcoming little small, what I'm saying, outfit trying to get it together. So hit the like button. It helps us out, help the algorithm, so we can get more shine on these YouTube and social media streets. We appreciate that. And we appreciate everybody who logs in and listens. Feel free to comment. Hey, send me a message. Send us a message if you want to come on. I know some of y'all comment a lot, and it's good stuff. Hey, we love to see your face and hear your voice and see what you got to talk about. All right, so let's grow this thing. We appreciate it. So hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go on over there and subscribe. We appreciate it. All right, because we plan to stay here. This is fun. We're gonna keep doing it. And so, as always, you've been part of the experience, where the experience is always good. And we will hit you guys up next week. Can't wait. Peace.